So writing research paper, substance and style. So substance means what you have, what you would like to publish, and style means how you present your research, how you present your work, how you present your project, how you present your results and conclusions to the readers. Writing is something skill which is different than other skills. You read a lot of content, daily you read a lot of content. But if someone asks you to write down whatever you have read today, it is quite difficult to write one paragraph. It is quite difficult to explain whatever you have read. It is quite difficult to explain whatever you have analyzed while you read something. That's why writing something which is a skill, especially when you are working on something, when you are working on the projects, when you are working on some technologies, when you are going through variety of the technologies, emerging technologies, and you are involved into those projects, then you can able to write down something about it. So the theme of this session is that we should be able to write whatever we knew, whatever we explored, whatever we emerged, whatever we learned, whatever we are doing in our daily projects, in third year's projects, or in whatever the technologies you are reading now. You first keep in the mind that irrespective of the standard of the students learning under you, those belongs to the after 10th standard students, first year, second year and third year students. So you please keep in the mind that their projects are of that level only. What is expectation from you that you just pick up something from that project and you explore for your research for 6 months. Within 2 semesters, we are expecting 2 research papers from their projects or your findings. So substance means you have to find that what you would like to work on, and when you started working on it, you get more and more clear about whatever the problems you identified, whatever the methodologies you have identified, and you are starting writing down them. That is in style. Now before starting any work or any research, we must know that what are the steps to complete the journey of research. So how to start that research? Now many teachers in our institute or in other institutes as well, they do written kind of the projects or they guide routine kind of the projects. So my expectation is that instead of working on the routine projects, those were evolved since 15 years back. 15 years back also the student was doing the same project. 10 years back the student was doing the same project of the same category, or you can say 5 years back also you also guide the students, those having same category that was 15 years back. So there is no that kind of the improvement in us as well and in the students also, because industry is running very fast and we must know or we must achieve that speed, so that we must know the emerging, what is emerging. We should not be getting back or lagging to the industry. That's why to start with any work which is now adopted by the industry, we should know that work is parallel to these kind of the research topics. In the civil engineering, you can find that latest work is going on in sustainable build systems, computational mechanics, and intelligent systems based on sensing, monitoring and control, risk and reliability, analysis for hazard mitigation, and seismic hazard estimation and microzonation. or earthquake load modeling using critical excitation methods. So these are the recent areas in the civil engineering that you can work on. You can find the numerous problems over these broader areas. In computer engineering, you can find data science for big data or cloud computing, cognitive and communication, computational intelligence. These are 15 years back, these evolved, but yet we are using them. In ANPC, now artificial intelligence, this is running since 50 years back, antenna and the propagation is running. People are working on that, it is evolving, yet language processing, biomedical circuits, again same for computer and ENTC, these two are same. For mechanical engineering, you can work on or you can read the contents, at least you can read the case studies, you can read the surveys, what people are doing. Nano electromechanical systems, computational fluid dynamics, multi-criteria decision making and optimization, autonomous vehicle and biomechanics. So you can work on, you can read the contents. So this is one method that you just identify the areas where you feel comfortable as per your expertise, and then you just start from some point. 2 years back research papers you can read, or 5 years back you can read the research papers, but not more than that. 10 years back, 15 years back, there is no use actually. Now second method is that you can go through the websites of Indian Institute of Technologies or National Institute of Technologies or ISRO or NASA or DRDO. So you can go through their websites and identify that on which technologies their professors are working. Now as per IIT is concerned, they are working on analytical studies or calibration, cause and remedial studies, simulation modeling, optimization. So these are the topics where their professors are having their own live projects. So this is one method that you just go through their websites and you just find out that in which topic the research is going on, in which topic the development is going on in fact. In the IIT's website also they are working on now environment, climate, earth sciences, healthcare, infrastructure, large scale, big data, materials manufacturing, natural sciences. So these are some of the topics that they are working on, and they have published what they are working. What they have published, what they are working. So this is a very important thing, is that the researchers are publishing the contents on which technology they are working. They are releasing the documents. They are publishing the standard documents on their own websites. So this is one way to identify the research topics, to identify the topics, and you can start reading over them. So this is first step. Second step is that while reading, while writing, we must know before writing, the reading process comes. You cannot directly start writing. The reading process comes first. And I observed many times that we fail to read rich contents. If you would like to search for particular engine, suppose combustion engine you would like to search for. So what you do, simply you just go on the Google site, you type combustion engine into that, and whatever the first 2-3 results appear in front of you, you choose one of them and then you start reading the contents of that. So this is the generally we do. So as per research is concerned, we should be habitual to read in rich content or technical content, authorized content, authenticated content. We should not read anything, and that rich content comes from such kind of the databases. So first database is IEEE database, it is compatible for partially for electronics because it is institution of electrical electronics engineers. That's why electronics partially and most of the part is computers. So for these two streams you can refer IEEE, and for civil engineering and for mechanical engineering you can ask your seniors that which side we should refer so that we can get perfect content or accurate content. Because many times I observe that the results proposed or published by the variety of the papers in local publication, they amplify their results. And if you read the same contents from the standard documents, you observe that the results are not that much amplified. Those are marginal results, practical results. We cannot expect 150 percentile from some particular control system. We cannot expect that. It should not be more than 95%. So this is the difference between the local contents and the standard contents, that we are talking about the facts, we are talking about the realities. Hence, this is the first database, and here if you open this website, IEEE's website, here you found that 38,97,303 items are there in electronics and in computers. So these many work already done by the researchers. They have already published 38 lakhs of the papers. Now this is 2 or 3 years back. Now it might reach to the 40 lakhs or 42 lakhs. So we are now starting that how to writing about research. So this is one tab is given search and second one is given, that is an advanced search. Now here I have written one string over here, scheduling in WiMAX, worldwide interoperability microwave access, that is in technology. I have written over here, and what I have observed that after pressing this search, I found 1000 papers on scheduling in the WiMAX. So it is quite impractical to read 1000 papers for one technology. There is only three words are there, scheduling in WiMAX, and these 3 words, on these 3 words, 1000 researchers work and they wrote something. So it is quite difficult that what content should I read among those 1000. So what you supposed to do, that you should give the scheduling word as a document title, use the AND operator and give the WiMAX, but this WiMAX should be in the metadata and not in the document title. As per this database is concerned, it is having IEEE's, IEI, SMPT, MITP, VOC, IBM, these many databases. So out of that, I only click this IEEE. Now you can observe 57. So by changing something, you can get that 57 papers you have. Now I can read that, isn't it? Now I can read that 57 papers is okay. It is practically. Now you can read the abstracts of these papers and you can decide that on which technology or on which paper you can start with. Topic running is reading the research paper. Now how to read this? We just start some page and we are start reading something, isn't it? So this way we are reading. But how to read introduction. OFDMA, also referred to as multi-user OFDM, and into the bracket 1 is written over there. So this way you should read. The first statement is taken from the reference first, and that first reference is multi-user OFDM. This is the title of that paper, which is published in 1999. Means while reading the first statement of the research paper, what you come to know that the research which I start doing in 2021, its beginning is in 1999, isn't it? 22 years back. So you can start open this. You ought to read the content of this paper, and then you come to know what are the basics of this technology, isn't it? And then you start, after reading the first paper, you continue with is being considered as modulation and multiple access method for fourth generation wireless networks. Now from is being you start reading the content of the second statement, and you come to know that generation of the wireless network is explained here in the second reference. So reading the paper means you are not reading it for in a one stroke. You should not read that. Reading the paper means you should take a pause. You should stop in each and every reference until you get the contents, until you observe the contents of that paper. If you read and absorb the contents of that paper, then and then you should proceed for the next statements. So this is the reading. And when you read such kind in this way, then you are increasing your density of using the words. You choose the words very intelligently. You choose the words very specifically. You cannot use the words international, global, such kind of the words you are using anytime in irrelevant situations. So when you read the contents in this way, we are responsible for whatever we are speaking and whatever we are writing. Now these are some of the metrics that should be known, because finally our paper should be published by journals, finally our paper should be published by the proceedings, conference proceedings, or the journals, or the articles, or magazines, isn't it? In the workshops or in the poster competitions. So what metric should be there? So first metric is that impact factor. Now impact factor, you should browse the websites and you get the impact factor of that particular journal. But how it is being calculated? For example, you are calculating the impact factor for 2021. So in 2090, 30 papers published by that particular journal, and in 2020, 50 papers published by that journal. So in 2021, out of these 50 papers, 200 cites, means 4 people cite one paper, or you can say any adaptive scale. And here 5 people cite 30 papers, means 150. Cite means we are taking a reference like this. In this is called as a citation. One, we cite that one. Author has cited the one, means the citation is increased by 1 for this journal, for this paper. So this way, these are the 200 cites, these are the 50 cites. So total 350 cites are there. So when 350 sites are there out of 80 papers, means the impact factor of that journal is 4.375. So this way impact factor is being calculated. Now in the past 10 years, it was not that much performance metric because of the misuse of that impact factor by the variety of the journals, that they insist the authors to cite their previously published papers so that their impact factor is going to increase. So that kind of the practice variety of the journals made. That's why impact factor is not that much performance parameter for publishing something, but for beginning you can refer impact factor journals, that this is a good impact factor journal. Second one is related to the author. It is related to the author. Now impact factor is also meant that my paper is how much quality it is having, how much quality that it is impacting the readers. It is impacting the readers. So impact factor is a parameter that is important as per author is concerned. So as per author is concerned, there is one more parameter, that is an H index. Suppose I have published 10 papers, and in one example, if out of these 10 papers, my first publication is cited by 30 people, my second publication is being cited by 27 people, and likewise up to 6th publication is being cited by 8, and 7th publication is being cited by 7 people, means my H index is 7. Because my 8th publication is cited by only 5, which is less than this 8. Which is less than this 8. That's why 7 is my H index. This is the H index. In a second case, if you observe, this is first publication is being cited by 30, second publication is being cited by 27, 25, fourth is being 10. And as far 5 is concerned, only 3 publications I have. Means my H index is 4. Okay. Means this is one performance parameter, that you are writing something, but someone should be reading that, isn't it? If someone is reading, it means that your writing is attracting to the readers. Your writing is having a content, should be readable. So H index is for the author. So how we have this H index, and using some Google Scholar kind of the portals you have. Third metric we can go immediately, that is a peer reviewed. Peer reviewed journals means what? The journals, those having editorial board, those journals having advisory board committees, they have their reviewers panel, experts panel, and when you submit a paper, submit the manuscript, submit the camera ready paper into their journal, they first identify whether that it is in the scope of their journal. If the journal belongs to the civil structures, then and you are writing a paper in the combustion engine, then it is out of the scope. So immediately it is going to be rejected, or it is not in the scope of the journal. So the journal who is having advisory board committee, editors, reviewers committee, subject experts, then they are going to review it. 3 reviewers are going to review that. Then you can say that it is a reviewed journal or peer reviewed. Okay. So this is the criteria. In many cases, I found that researchers don't know that in which journal we should publish. Sometimes they publish their papers in the journal, those don't have any ISSN number as well in printed or in the electronic form. So it is a wastage of your content actually. You are wasting the contents. You should be very cautious that on which platform you are submitting your manuscripts, and you should not share it with your friends as well. Before publishing, you should not share it with anyone. You also be cautious that you are submitting a manuscript to a journal. It should not be misused that. Now there are some standard databases are there as per APA, National Board of Accreditation is concerned, or as per reviewers are concerned. They prefer this database, SCI or the Scopus database, and some also accept Web of the Science, but rest of the databases are useless databases. The rest of the databases are useless databases. UGC Care is also useless database for us. We belongs to the AICT, and AICT is recommending only STI, Scopus, Web of the Science databases. If you publish your research in some of the databases, those are not indexed in these, then they are not accepting it. They are not counting it. Now, H index, I index, these kind of the terminologies are related to the author, and this is my page of Google Scholar. You can, my request to you is that after this session, you can also open Google Scholar's account immediately before starting writing down something. So, in this page, my 27 papers list you can see over here, and here you can see that this paper is been cited by 36 people. This paper is cited by 21. This is 8, 7, 6, 6, and this is 5. Now you can see that here this is first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. So sixth paper is been cited by 6, and seventh paper is cited by only 5 people. Means H index is 6. My H index is 6. And I10 index of my paper is only 2. I10 index is only 2. It meant that my first paper is been cited by 36 people, and second paper is been cited by 21 people, and third one is only by 8. But if this reaches to 30, then I10 index can be 3. 10 multiplied by 3, like this. If this reaches to 20 and this reaches to 30, then also this is 3. If 1, 2, 3 and 4, if this reaches to 40, 40, then I10 index is 40, 4, like this. So if my 4 papers cited by 40 people respectively, then I10 index is in multiples of that index, like that, 4. So it is quite difficult. For me as well, my I10 index is only 2. Only 20 people are influenced by me. This is the meaning, linear meaning. I influenced only the 20 people from 2009. This is the meaning. So this way you can use this, and I haven't added these papers. I haven't added manually. These papers having document object identifier. That document object identifier has my name, my unique identification. Google Scholar automatically added them. Google Scholar automatically added them. I have never added these papers. I only give my details while registering this. It automatically added. Here you can see the co-authors. So this way you can use this. These are some of the citation methods. It is not in flow of the presentation, but you should know that American Psychological Association is one and Modern Language Association is the second. Those are mainly used by researchers, and these are used by some MBA researchers, and IEEE is also there. So as per APA is concerned, this way we must code. If we write something, we must code that. This is an author and he has published this statement, or he concluded this statement in 1999 in page number 1. But in this citation, you write down both author and co-author, and this is in page number of that proceeding. So these are the two main styles that we prefer while cite our papers. Now here, actually we are starting with the how to write something. So up till now, we have seen how to read, how to identify the research topics, and how to proceed with the publication in the journal, or what kind of the journal we should prefer, that we have seen. As per second phase is concerned, before actually writing, you must ask these three questions: that what message you would like to give in this paper, what message you would like to give in this paper. So that message should be clear. You cannot write down the chunk of the information into that. You should be very specific. If you are thinking that you are optimizing some process, then you should stick to that process. You should know the performance parameters those are involved to optimize that particular process. These are the inputs and these are the output of the process. So you are only thinking and you are always writing down about that process only. You are not thinking out of the boundaries of that process. So this is a particular message you are going to do, because we are not impressing we should not impress that, and that is not impressing actually. When you are writing down some irrelevant contents into your paper, those are not relevant to that particular process, then it is useless actually. Why reader should read all those things which are not necessary into that paper? So that message should be clear. Then what contribution you would like to highlight, that is important, because many researchers have done already something and you have done some new thing into that process, so you must highlight that only. In the introduction section, you can mention them that this has been done, and then you are moving forward from that point. So this is the way that you must write down the contribution. And what you should convince the people for, you should convince the people that these are my results, this is my process, and on these constraints, on these parameters, I have tested this in this scenario only. This process is worked only for such kind of the scenario, not for other parameters, not for other scenarios, not for other situations. So that should be strictly, you can mention that this is, I have tested this for this particular constraint, within these constraints only. Then you can convince the people. Otherwise, they are not going to convince, because they are standing on some coordinates and you are standing on some different coordinates. So those are not going to be matched at all. Now, many times we are confused in between the facts and the realities. We should always talk about the facts. We should always talk about the facts. In the research, at least, sun rises in the east. That is in the reality actually. But Earth moves from west to east, and that is a fact. And because of that fact, the sun rises in the east. If Earth reverses its direction east to west, then sun also changes its direction. So facts are different. Facts are more real than reality. Reality is not that much real. So you are talking about the facts. You should talk about the facts. Many times in many systems, optimization is been done, and that optimization finally ended to the genetic algorithms. So many times it has been observed that genetic algorithms gives a proper or maximization output. That is in the reality. But in the fact, no one is using that. So our results should be factual and not imaginary, though they are real. Now these are some of the types of the paper. First one is the article. This is been written for the magazines, and here you have a privilege to write many more aspects than those not done by you. You have a privilege to write down broader perspective. You can write down broader perspective in an article. As per review article is concerned, you should be involved into that system. You should be involved into that technology since long. If you start reading from today for 4.0 industry, and after 1 month you start writing down the review paper for 4.0, then you are not actually perfect person for writing down for the review for 4.0 technology, because your contribution is zero into that. You have just started reading the contents of 4.0. The review article is written only by those researchers, those having 20 years, 15 years working into that technology, and they write down the reviews. You can write down the survey papers. Many times researchers or we teachers confuse in survey and review. When you are reviewing something, then you are having mastery into that particular technology. But when you are putting a survey, then you are reading something and you are evaluating the results and then you are comparing it. That is called as a survey of multiple papers. So this is the review article. Short communication is that if you find that a particular paper is having this discrepancy and you found that in that environment you found that this kind of the thing is wrong, and you can just communicate to that author. So that kind of the communication, or if you publish that communication, then it is called as the short communication. Discussion means you can discuss with multiple reviewers about one technology. You can share your findings, you can read their findings, that is called as a discussion. You can write down the book review also, you can write down the product review also, and you can write down the editorial statements if you are editor of a particular journal. So these are the types of the papers. These all comes under the types of the papers. As per our this session is concerned, we are sticking with the article or the research paper. As per article is concerned, we submit the articles to the journals, international journals, or especially international journals only, and we submit our manuscript to the research or the research paper to the conferences, research papers, and article journals. Types of the conference papers, where I just presenting and you are listening to that, you are responding to that. I am presenting and one panel is evaluating me. In a workshop, I am presenting and I am also showing the simulation to those, or I am showing the demonstration of my findings or my project there. Here, you have to prepare one poster, tabulate the things, and then you can post it in the competitions. So these are the types. Now these are the sections in the research paper. Actually 12 important or 12 main components are here. Now you can, these are optional. Mathematics you can or you cannot. This is optional. Future planning is optional. If you don't have a comparison, if it is a novel, then there is no, this is optional. So this way these are 3 or 4, these are optional, but the rest are mandatory. Now as per title of the paper is concerned, you must be very much conscious about the writing down the title. I have read many project titles in last 2 months back. I have read many project contents, mechanical, especially computers. So now you, after this session, again you read those paper project titles. So those project titles are quite hypothetical. Those are not perfect one. Those are not depicting what is going on into the project. Those are clumsy, vivid. So title of the paper like this. Now here I have highlighted this civil engineering structures. So civil engineering structure is a broader area. That is a broader area. So what is there in this civil engineering structures? Free vibration analysis is done. Free vibration analysis is done for this broader area. But by which? By component-wise models. Means you are shrinking the broader area into the narrow area. You are specific about the work, about your work. So our title is highlighting your direction. And it must be attractive that when you are writing down something, it must be specific one. As far this is concerned, this might be of mechanical engineering, I think. So this is a broader area, thermodynamics. Thermodynamic aspects of combustion, this is a broader area, but in which gasoline engines, and more specifically fitted with multiple fuel injection. So this way you select your title of the project or title of the research paper in very specifically. Now second part is that author names and the affiliations. Now here you can write down your initial with surname. This is A. Third one is also having A. This is 1 and this is also 1. Means these both authors work in same institution, work in same organization or research lab. As per this is concerned, they are working on second organization having B and he is having star here. Means this author is a corresponding author. This author is responsible for submitting, for copyright content, for feedback, for payment, for rest of the processes of the up to the publication. This author is responsible. That's why this is corresponding author. This is also one style that you can consequently write down the name of the authors. Those belongs to only one institute or organization with their details. So 2 we have finished. As per abstract and keywords are concerned, this portion you should write down at the end. Means after writing down the references or biographies, you start writing down the abstract and the keywords. Many people start writing down the abstract first and then they write down the paper. So it is very wrong practice that how you can write down the abstract first. You are writing down some technology, you are writing down about your findings, about your results, you conclude something and then you finally write down the abstract. So this way abstract should be written and keyword should be written in after the references. After references means after writing down the complete paper, then you can write down the abstract of the 70 words, not more than that. 70 words is the limit for it. As per introduction is concerned, that introduction should start with very interesting line, because reader should take more interest into your introduction. Then he can read the complete paper. Our final aim is that our reader should read the complete paper, not publish the paper. Reader should read the complete paper. So as per, for example, this statement is concerned, as per introduction is concerned, here see I have written this doesn't belongs to my specialization. Numerous studies have been devoted to obtaining accurate results for the free vibration analysis of civil engineering constructions in the past and recent years. Means now here you can see that the statement I have used here, this is the title of that paper, and from this paper, if immediately I started reading the introduction, then what I come to know that yes, whatever is the title, I found it in the introduction itself. That's why the title and the introduction is tightly connected, they are tightly bounded with each other. Hence, the reader's interest developed into this. Now, as per second statement is concerned, a few examples are given here in the reference number 1. So, few examples are given here for the vibration analysis, isn't it? So, this way we can write down as per introduction starting is concerned. Introduction starting. Now, later on you can just quoting down something like this. Free vibration analysis for asymmetric plan frame structures was presented in reference number 2. So whatever the references you have with you, 10 references, 20 references, you are just quoting down whatever has been done in the second paper, whatever has been done in the third paper, you're just quoting it down. But the first is, and that must be having some flow. That must having some flow. From 1999, if you started quoting the papers, 1999, 2000, 2003, likewise. So you cannot in between put some paper which is just 1968 paper, you cannot put after 1999. That flow is going to be violated then. It is not expected. So it must be with a flow. Paper number 1 you cite, it is in the flow with the introduction. And after first, what second has done. So this is advanced as compared to the first one. So this way you can writing down the introduction. Last part of the introduction should be the remainder of this paper is organized. Organization, you are explaining that. How it is organized. Section 2 reviews the related work related to the vibration analysis or anything. Section 3 provides the details of the proposed model and the notations used in the mathematical model. Section number 4 describes the proposed algorithm, whatever you have done. 5 is an analytical model, if any, simulated results, if any, or experimental results you can quote. And finally, you are summarizing it or concluding it with the proposed algorithm in the section number 7. So this way we conclude our introduction section. So this is a style of writing down the introduction. Now, as for proposed system is concerned, in many our diploma projects, you can directly show the diagrams, or you can use the pictures also, and you can use these diagrams of CAD, CAM, or any software. You can use those softwares. You can use variety of the softwares. In fact, there are in civil engineering also simulation softwares are present. In mechanical engineering also simulation softwares are present. Academic for academics, open source softwares are there. So whatever the project students are doing, you just try to simulate those projects and try to find out that which parameters are affecting this project, and use those parameters as performance parameters for writing down something. As per this is also one proposed system. You can say this is the base station. These are some nodes having signal to noise ratio in this range and having distance, variety of the diversity of the distance, and this network is been deployed for especially for 4th generation network. So this is this diagram is drawn using this dia software. You can use Visio software or Open Office Draw, LibreOffice Draw, or Pencil Project. So when you are drawing your diagrams in such kind of the softwares, then it adds the value into your paper. Because if you just find the diagram in the Google and you pick up that into your paper, then it is very wrong practice to write down something which is genuine. It is not considered as a genuine research. You should write down, you should draw your own, you should draw your own graphs, you should write you should put your results into the tabular forms. So that paper, whatever the research quality, whatever the research levels are, not quality, research level is there, whatever the research level is there, but writing is genuine. As per 7th parameter is concerned, mathematical model is concerned, this is again civil engineering. I am not expertise in the civil engineering. This is a 3-dimensional view of one frame of the beam model, and this is cross section of the structure. And how to analyze this? It has the boundaries, that is from 0 to capital L. So this is in the y direction. So might be this is this y, isn't it? This is capital L, L might be this one. I am not a civil engineering person, but yet I understand that. this might be, because in the diagram they have shown like this. The stress is sigma and this is strain is epsilon, and having transitions tensor for y, x, z, or the combination of these. So these are the 6 elements. So this is the tensor of 6. This is the tensor of 6 again. So how to convert it into the mathematics? This is the first step. Second step is that some linear equations you can refer by the displacement gradient. This is the, as 3 dimensions are there, 1, 2 and 3 dimensions are there, 1, 2 and 3 columns are there, and as 6 combinations are there, 6 rows are there, having x component, y component and z component, and the combination of them, z and x. Z is here and x is here. Here z is here, that's why here x is here, isn't it? So I understand that. Though I am not a civil person, though I understand that. So similarly here you can use the Young's modulus using the Young formula, I think. And this is a matrix. These are the constants estimation. So this way you can write down the mathematics. So you can understand the mathematics in fact. The second thing is that if such kind of the equations you can use in your papers to enrich the quality of the paper, such kind of the objective functions you can use. Now what you can analyze using this, whatever in this side I have not written, this is a might be any capacity might be, and here this is a problem of the maximization, max is written over there. This is a problem of the maximization, that's why this is an objective function. This objective function is having 2 major variables k and m, those having range from 1. With these constraints, this is an equality constraint and this is non-equality constraint, and this one variable is having binary in nature, it might be 0 or it might be 1. So this way you can analyze that this equation is representing some system which is a system of the maximization. This is a polynomial hard kind of the system. Obviously each and every system in the engineering domain is a polynomial hard, and that's why the convex should be reached for using these constraints. So this way you understand. Finally, when you are writing down some mathematics, then you must know the notations used, and if values are there, then it will be better that these values I have used in my project. If it is a bandwidth, then you can write it down here, unit, here you can use the unit, and here you can use the figures. So this way notations, whatever the notations you have mentioned in your paper, you can just tabulate it into one in the introduction itself or in the proposed system section. So these are some of the equations. This equation I have already explained. Sorry. Now, as per results are concerned, there are 3 types of the results. First one is the experimental numerical results, that you have some mathematics you put, or you just roll over the variables and you just find out whatever the output of that particular equation, you just tabulate it. That is a numerical results. In the simulated results, you put this numerical into a MATLAB or in the C language or in the Psi language or any simulation language or in the simulation software like Qualnet or Qualcomm kind of the softwares. You can just browse that which software is preferable in your project, and you can just estimate the simulated results through that. Experimental results are actually the physical using these physical instruments that you are having in your laboratory. If you are testing something and you are observing the readings, then you can put it in the experimental results. Okay. Now these are the few ways using the tables. You can use such kind of the parameters on y-axis. You can use some kind of the parameters on the x-axis, and you just highlight the variation into the results by changing some parameter. Here the value of n is 2 and n is 4, like this. So this way you can present your results in the tabular form, or you can prefer to use two-dimensional graph where on x it is an independent and this is an dependent parameter, and then you can record the change the pattern of that particular dependent parameter with respect to this, and you must mention that why the pattern is like this, why it is drastically increasing, but after reaching to 20, why it is start stabilizing, and if it is decreasing after some limit, then why it is decreasing. So such kind of the expert opinion is expected from you in the conclusion. Here also, this is the throughput in the Mbps, and this is a signal to noise ratio. For 3 different algorithms it has been mentioned, and it is observed that this third might be modulation technique. This is a 64 quadrature amplitude modulation technique is giving more throughput for our network. So this way it is easy to understand that this method is okay. Again, it is okay that as per moisture is concerned, this one is okay, and rest are in a negative direction as days are increasing. So this might be okay, and these are useless systems, you can say. Now, if there is a future, then you can write down the scope. If there is no future, then there is no need to write down the future scope. If you are writing down something that you are having planned to explore it and further, then you can write down the future scope, or it is an option. And then you must write down the concluding remarks that this is expected and whatever we have achieved. In many cases, concluding remarks, you are not only writing down that your performance is very good. In many research or in many theories, we have written that okay, we have tested this algorithm, but its performance is not that much good, or we are not recommending that. That is also the research that you are recommending that you should not use that. You are recommending that. So it is also one kind of the research that you have wasted 3 or 4 years, and finally you conclude that this particular algorithm or this particular method is not going to use for practical scenarios. Then we should avoid working in this particular area. That this is also the expert remark or concluding remark. Now these are the style of writing down the references. That first you have to write down first author or main author name, co-authors names, the title of the paper, and in which transaction, in which journal, in which conference this is being published, when it is being published, and on which pages it is being printed or uploaded, like this. So this way you can write down the references. So this is all about how to write down the research paper. So if you start working on the research, then you can write down the unlimited papers. So this is a journey which is just going on. There is no end to it. Okay. So I hope you have enjoyed the session, and it might feel accomplished for you. Okay. Thank you.